50 ex-convicts covered in prison ink surrounded the luxury Mercedes when the senator's son raised his fist to strike the teenage girl. Marcus Reed, with scars from 12 years in the system etched into every muscle, caught the young man's wrist with a grip that came from surviving places most people couldn't imagine. "That girl you just put your hands on," he said, his voice carrying the weight of 1,000 nights behind bars. "She's protected now." But what the senator's son didn't know was that the girl he'd just assaulted was the daughter of the man standing in front of him, and Marcus had spent every single day of his 12-year sentence for a crime he didn't commit dreaming of the moment he'd meet his daughter again. What happened in the next 48 hours didn't just bring down a privileged predator. It exposed a corruption so deep that it would shake Boston to its core and prove that the most dangerous thing about a man with nothing left to lose is when someone threatens the one thing he has left to protect. You ever imagine that someone society threw away could be the only one willing to stand up? That's exactly what happened with Marcus Reed and the brothers of Second Chance. And what they did next, nobody was prepared to see. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, leave your like, and stay with me until the end. Because what happened in this story, nobody saw coming. Marcus Reed stood outside the downtown Boston Community Center on a cold November morning. 42 years old, 6'2", 200 pounds of muscle built from prison yard workouts. His appearance told a story most people didn't want to read. Tattoos crawled up his neck, a faded prison number barely covered by a newer design of a phoenix rising from ashes. The dark jacket, carefully maintained from donations, couldn't hide what he was. His hands, scarred knuckles from fights he didn't start but had to finish, held a folder containing his daughter's school, records, court documents proving his exoneration, and a letter from his parole officer. 63 days. That's how long he'd been out after 12 years in Cedar Junction State Prison for armed robbery, a crime he swore he didn't commit. Evidence planted by a dirty cop who needed to close cases. When DNA evidence finally cleared him last spring, when they opened those gates and handed him $400 and an apology that meant nothing, Marcus made himself 3 promises. Find honest, work, stay clean, reconnect with his daughter Sarah, who'd been 8 years old when he went away and was now 20. The community center smelled of burnt coffee and bureaucracy. Marcus was there for his monthly check-in, but his mind was on the meeting he'd scheduled for later. Sarah had finally agreed to see him after months of reaching out through her aunt. 20 years old, studying pre-law at Boston University, angry at the father who'd disappeared from her life even if it wasn't his fault. He'd practiced what he'd say 1,000 times. That's when he heard the commotion outside, shouting. A girl's voice saying, "Get off me!" Marcus's body moved before his mind caught up. He pushed through the door and saw them. A young woman, early 20s, trying to pull away from a tall guy in designer clothes. The guy's friends laughing, filming on their phones. The girl's face full of fear and fury. "Come on, baby, don't be like that," the guy slurred. "Drunk or high at 10 in the morning. You were into it at the party." "I said no, let go." She tried to pull free. He grabbed harder, left a red mark on her wrist. Marcus was across the parking lot in seconds. "She said let go." The guy turned, looked Marcus up and down, saw the tattoos, the scars, the hard eyes, decided he didn't care. "This doesn't concern you, convict. Walk away." "Can't do that." Marcus kept his voice level, kept his hands visible. Everything his re-entry counselor taught him. Don't escalate, don't give them reason. The lady wants you to let go, so let go. That's when the punch came. Fast, arrogant, entitled. Caught Marcus on the jaw. Not hard enough to do damage, but enough to trigger every instinct he'd spent 63 days suppressing. The parking lot went quiet. The guy's friends stopped laughing. The girl stopped struggling. Everyone waited to see what the ex-con with the prison tattoos would do. Marcus counted to 5, rolled his jaw, tasted blood. "You just made a mistake." "Yeah? What are you gonna do about it?" The guy stepped closer, all confidence. "You know who my father is? Senator William Bradford. One call and you're back in whatever hole you crawled out of." The girl finally pulled free, stumbled back. Marcus saw her face clearly for the first time. The world stopped. Those eyes, That nose, the way she held herself when scared. Oh God, oh no. Sarah? His voice cracked. She looked at him, really looked. Recognition hit like a freight train. Dad? Time froze. 12 years compressed into one moment. The little girl who'd cried at his trial was now a woman, and she was the one being assaulted. The one he'd just defended without knowing. The daughter he was supposed to meet in 2 hours at a coffee shop. Neutral ground. Careful reintroduction. You know this thug? Bradford's son laughed. Perfect. Trash protecting trash. That's when Marcus's phone buzzed. Text from a number he'd memorized. Brother, you good? Community center, right? It was Dante. Then another. Carlos. Then Jerome. Then 8 more. The brothers of Second Chance. The reintegration program Marcus had joined. 63 days of showing up, sharing stories, learning to live free. 47 ex-convicts who'd served time ranging from 5 to 25 years, who'd all chosen to change, who all looked out for each other. Marcus had accidentally hit his emergency button, the group chat alert they'd set up for when someone needed backup. Not for violence, just present. Because sometimes being alone is when you make the worst decisions. I'm good, he started to type. Then Bradford's son grabbed Sarah again. We're not done, sweetheart. You embarrassed me in front of my boys. Don't touch her. Marcus stepped forward. Bradford pushed Sarah aside, hard. She hit the pavement. That's when Marcus's hands closed into fists, every lesson forgotten, every promise evaporating. He was back in the yard, back where disrespect meant violence. Marcus Reed? A voice cut through the rage. Director Janet Mills stood in the community center doorway, phone in hand. Behind her, cars were pulling up. 1, 3, 7, 12. Men getting out, all sizes, all ages, all carrying the same marks of time served. The brothers had come. Dante reached Marcus first. 50 years old, did 18 years for manslaughter, now worked construction. Brother, breathe, we got this. Carlos, Jerome, Tommy, Big Mike, all of them forming a wall between Marcus and Bradford. Not threatening, just there. 50 men total within 5 minutes. Some from work sites, some from jobs, all coming because one of them needed help not to make the mistake that would send him back. Is that your daughter? Dante asked quietly. Marcus nodded, couldn't speak. Then we protect her our way, the right way. Director Mills was already filming. Mr. Bradford, I'm Janet Mills, director of this facility. I've recorded the entire incident. The assault on this young woman. Your friend's assault. On Mr. Reed. All of it. Bradford finally looked nervous. Look, this is a misunderstanding. Just some fun that got out of hand. Fun? Sarah stood up, shaking but fierce. You grabbed me. You wouldn't let go. You pushed me down. She's drunk. She's confused. Bradford's friends were backing away now, seeing the crowd, seeing phones out, seeing this going wrong. I'm sober, and I'm a law student, and I know exactly what assault looks like. Sarah moved to stand next to Marcus. Didn't touch. Him, wasn't ready for that, but chose her side. These men showed up to help me when nobody else did. Police arrived, took statements. Bradford kept name-dropping his father, kept threatening lawsuits, kept assuming his privilege would protect him. The officers looked at the video Director Mills showed them. Clear assault, multiple witnesses, no ambiguity. Sir, you need to come with us. Do you know who I am? Yes, sir. You're under arrest for assault and battery. The brothers stayed until police left. Stayed until Bradford and his friends were gone. Stayed until Sarah stopped shaking. Dante pulled Marcus aside. Go talk to your daughter. We'll handle the statements. Marcus approached Sarah carefully. 12 years of distance, 63 days of hoping, and they'd reunited like this. Sarah, why didn't you tell me you were out? Her voice cracked. Aunt Lisa said you reached out, but she didn't say you were living here, in Boston. That I wanted to do it. Right. Prove I'd changed before I asked you to see me. Show you I wasn't just the guy who disappeared. He gestured at the tattoos, the scars. I'm not the dad you remember. I'm trying to be better than that. You just defended me from a senator's son, knowing it could send you back to prison. Without even knowing it was me. She wiped her eyes. That's exactly the dad I remember. The one who always protected me. Marcus felt something break inside. 12 years of holding it together, of surviving, of keeping emotion locked away. "I'm so sorry, baby girl. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry you had to grow up thinking I abandoned you. I'm sorry some dirty cop took your father away and I couldn't fight it until it was too late." They stood in that parking lot, both crying, 12 years of pain and 3 months of hope colliding. Finally, Sarah stepped forward and hugged him. Not the hug of a little girl, but of a woman who'd learned to survive without him and was choosing to let him back in anyway. Over the next week, everything exploded. The video of the assault went viral. Senator Bradford tried to spin it, tried to claim his son was the victim, tried to use his influence to make it disappear. But Director Mills had sent copies to every news station, every advocacy group, every organization that dealt with reintegration and criminal justice. The story wasn't just about assault. It was about 50 ex-convicts showing up to prevent violence, not commit it. About men. Society had thrown away choosing to protect, not harm. "Ex-convicts prevent assault by senator's son," read one headline. "Men society forgot, remember what honor means," read another. The comments section filled with people sharing their own stories of reintegration, of family members who'd served time, of the impossible barriers ex-convicts faced. Marcus's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Job offers, interview requests, organizations wanting to hear his story, but he ignored most of it. He was, focused on Sarah, on rebuilding what they'd lost. They met for coffee the way they'd planned, but everything was different now. She knew he'd risk everything for her. He knew she was strong enough to choose forgiveness. "Tell me what it was like," she said over their third meeting. "In there. How did you survive 12 years for something you didn't do?" Marcus thought carefully. "First year I was angry, wanted to fight everything. Got me in trouble, extended my sentence 6 months for an incident. Year 2, I realized anger was gonna kill me or keep me in forever. Met an older guy, 65, doing life for something he did at 19. He told me, 'Your body's in here, but your mind doesn't have to be.' Started reading. Got my GED, took every class they offered. Year 5, new evidence started coming together. Year 8, DNA proved the cop planted evidence. Year 10, lawyer finally got someone to listen. Year 12, walked out with $400 and my life back." "Were you scared? Coming out?" "Terrified. Everything had changed. You'd grown up. Technology was different. Even the way people talked. And I had no idea if you'd even want to see me." He looked at his daughter, this strong young woman. "But I knew I had to try. Had to prove the system was wrong about me. That 12 years didn't break what mattered." Sarah reached across the table, touched the Phoenix tattoo on his forearm. "When did you get this?" "Year 11. Covered my prison number. Phoenix, rising from ashes. Reminder that you can come back from anything if you choose to." Senator Bradford's office called Marcus directly, offered a settlement, $200,000 if Marcus convinced Sarah not to press charges, if they both signed NDAs, if the whole thing disappeared quietly. Marcus hung up, called back 5 minutes later. "Counteroffer. Your son pleads guilty, does community service at reintegration programs, learns what consequences feel like, and the senator funds Second Chance Boston for 5 years, $200,000 a year. Help people like us prove we've changed. Otherwise, we see you in court." "You can't be serious." "I'm dead serious. I spent 12 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. Your son committed assault on camera and thinks his name will save him. Time he learned different." The senator tried to refuse, tried to fight, but the media attention wouldn't die. His political opponents started asking questions. Why was he protecting his son instead of supporting criminal justice reform? Why was he attacking programs that helped people reintegrate? His polling numbers dropped. His donors got nervous. 3 weeks after the assault, a press conference. Senator Bradford, looking 20 years older, announced a new initiative, $5 million to fund reintegration programs across Massachusetts. His son, standing beside him, clearly forced to be there, announcing a guilty plea and 200 hours of community service working with ex-convicts. It wasn't redemption, it was consequences, but it was a start. Second Chance Boston exploded. The program that had been meeting in a church basement suddenly had funding, resources, attention. They rented a real space in Dorchester, hired staff, created structured programs for job training, mental health support, family reunification. Marcus became the face of it, the man whose story proved the system could fail and people could rise anyway. But more than that, he became a father again. Sarah moved into an apartment near campus, and Marcus visited every week. They cooked dinner together, her teaching him recipes he'd never learned, him telling stories about her childhood she'd forgotten. It wasn't perfect. Some days she was angry about the lost years. Some days he was overwhelmed by how much he'd missed, but they were building something real. 6 months after that parking lot encounter, Second Chance Boston held its first graduation ceremony. 20 men who'd completed the program, all employed, all staying clean, all rebuilding their lives. Marcus stood at the podium looking at the crowd. Sarah sat in the front row. The brothers who'd shown up that day filled several rows. Employers who'd given chances sat alongside family members who'd waited. My name is Marcus Reed. I spent 12 years in prison for armed robbery. I was innocent, but the system didn't care. When I got out 63 days before I met most of you, I had $400. A daughter who didn't know if she could trust me, and a world that looked at my tattoos and decided I was still guilty. I could have been angry, could have given up, could have proved everyone right about ex-cons. Instead, I found brothers who taught me that where you've been doesn't define where you're going. He looked at Sarah. And I found out that protection isn't about violence. It's about showing up, being present, doing the hard work of change every single day. When 50 men showed up in that parking lot, they didn't come to fight. They came to make sure I didn't throw away my second chance on someone who wasn't worth it. They reminded me that strength isn't about fists. It's about choosing different even when it's hard. The graduates stood. These men who'd served everything from 3 to 25 years, who'd lost jobs and families and decades, but who'd chosen to come back, to prove that reintegration isn't a theory, it's a choice you make every morning. We're not heroes, Marcus continued. We're men who made mistakes, paid for them, and decided to be different. Some of us were guilty, some weren't, but all of us are here now, doing the work, proving that second chances aren't charity. They're what you give someone who's paid their debt and chooses to rebuild. 2 years later, Marcus walked Sarah across the stage at Boston University. She graduated with honors, her law degree focused on criminal justice reform. She'd spent her last year interning with the Innocence Project, helping people like her father prove wrongful convictions. I used to be angry that you weren't there, she told him after the ceremony. For my high school graduation, my first heartbreak, all those moments. But then I realized you gave me something better. You showed me that the system is broken, and you gave me a reason to fix it. Every person I help exonerate, I do it for that 8-year-old girl who lost her dad to injustice. Marcus Reed, 44 years old now, runs Second Chance Boston full-time. The program has helped 417 people successfully reintegrate. 73% are still employed after 2 years, compared to the national average of 30%. They've opened 3 more locations across Massachusetts. Marcus still carries the scars, still has the tattoos, still looks like what he was. But when people see him now, they also see the man who turned 12 years of injustice into a movement. As for Senator Bradford's son, he completed his community service, spent 200 hours at Second Chance learning what consequences look like. He's not reformed, not a hero, not someone who had a movie moment of change, but he's quieter now. He thinks before he acts. And he never put his hands on anyone again, because he learned that privilege doesn't protect you from video evidence and men who refuse to look away. So if this story moved you, hit that like button right now, and tell me in the comments, do you believe people can truly change? Write yes or no and tell me why. I want to read every single comment. Share this video with someone who needs to believe that comeback is possible, that past doesn't have to be prison, that work and will and one day at a time can build a life worth living. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell because stories like this, stories that show the real human side of struggle and triumph, these are the stories that change how we see the world. Where are you watching from? Comment your city and state. From Boston to everywhere, this message matters. Second chances aren't charity, they're justice.